Prince Harry thought the fight was with his brother. He thought the real threat was public backlash. But behind palace doors, a colder force has reportedly moved in silence. Princess Anne and the inheritance Harry trusted may already be slipping out of reach. The real battle starts now. The silent power move no one saw coming. For months, the public narrative has been simple. Prince Harry versus Prince William. Two brothers locked in a bitter feud, shaped by resentment, media pressure, and the emotional fallout of royal life. Headlines framed it as a personal rivalry, a dramatic family fracture playing out on the world stage. But according to emerging reports and royal insiders, that storyline may have missed the real power player entirely, because this conflict was never just about William. Behind the scenes, a quieter and far more calculated force is rumored to have stepped in: Princess Anne. While the world focused on public interviews, memoir revelations, and tabloid drama, insiders suggest and was operating in an entirely different arena, not in the spotlight, not in emotional arguments, but in legal frameworks, administrative influence, and long-term institutional strategy, and has long carried a reputation inside royal circles as the family's most disciplined and unyielding figure. She doesn't posture. She doesn't chase headlines. She doesn't issue emotional statements. Instead, she moves through systems, governance, protocol, legal authority, with a reputation for precision and control. And now, sources claim she has reportedly taken direct interest in Prince Harry's financial future, not out of personal rivalry, not out of public anger, but out of what insiders describe as risk management, rather than confronting Harry through public channels, and is rumored to have targeted what she sees as the true leverage point: his access to legacy funding tied to Princess Diana. For years, Harry reportedly believed that even if he separated from the monarchy, even if he cut ties with royal institutions, one part of his life remained secure: the inheritance tied to his mother's side of the family, a safety net, a permanent emotional and financial anchor, something beyond palace politics. But that assumption may now be under serious challenge. Insiders suggest and views Harry's post-royal path, media partnerships, commercial storytelling, memoir disclosures, and public criticism as more than personal expression. In her eyes, it represents a potential reputational vulnerability for both the monarchy and the broader historical legacy connected to Diana. And rather than confronting this publicly, and is rumored to be working quietly to redefine the rules behind the scenes. Unlike William, who is often portrayed as reacting emotionally to family tensions, Anne's reported approach is described as methodical. She is said to be less focused on feelings and more focused on containment, precedent, and long-term consequence. This is where the narrative shifts. Harry may have believed he was fighting a brother fueled by resentment, but according to insiders, he may actually be facing an institutional strategist who plays by entirely different rules. To Anne, this reportedly isn't about punishing Harry. It's about control. Control over assets. Control over legacy. Control over what parts of Diana's memory can be accessed, moved, monetized, or repurposed. Royal observers claim it is concerned not just with what Harry has already said, but with what he might say or do next. What stories could be told. What artifacts could be leveraged. What historical material could be transformed into commercial content. From her perspective, the stakes aren't personal. They're historical. And rather than allowing the situation to unfold unpredictably, insiders believe and is attempting to intervene early, shifting the power dynamic before it spirals beyond royal control. The effect of this alleged intervention has reportedly been immediate. Negotiations that once seemed routine have stalled. Financial expectations have grown uncertain. What Harry once viewed as a guaranteed inheritance may now be subject to legal scrutiny, reinterpretation, and institutional resistance. In short, this may no longer be a family argument. It may be a structural power play, a quiet recalibration of who controls Diana's legacy and who doesn't. And the most unsettling part? This move isn't just about money. It sets the stage for a much deeper battle, one involving legal classifications, moral clauses, and a hidden framework Harry may never have realized existed. Because the next layer of this story reveals what Harry believed was permanently his, and why that belief may have been far more fragile than he ever imagined. The inheritance Harry thought was safe forever. For Prince Harry, The Spencer inheritance was never just about wealth. It represented security without a connection to his mother, and what he reportedly believed was the one thing the royal machine could never touch. When Harry stepped away from royal duties, he understood he was walking away from sovereign grants, royal funding, and institutional privileges. But insiders suggest he always held onto one quiet certainty: Diana's legacy was untouchable. That whatever happened with the crown, the Spencer side of his life would remain firmly his. But that belief may have rested on a dangerous misunderstanding. According to sources familiar with aristocratic estates, the Spencer inheritance is not a simple payout waiting in a bank account. It is a layered legal structure, often described as a residual Spencer estate, governed by trustees, historical conditions, and rules designed to protect lineage rather than individual freedom. And inside that structure lies a category, now rumored to be at the center of the conflict: hybrid assets. These are items that exist in a legal and symbolic gray zone, not entirely personal, not entirely institutional, not fully transferable. They allegedly include select pieces of Princess Diana's jewelry, rare family heirlooms, handwritten letters, and historically sensitive personal artifacts. To Harry, these objects may feel like deeply emotional keepsakes, proof of his bond with his mother and a tangible part of her memory. But insiders claim Princess and views them through a far colder lens. To her, these items are not simply sentimental possessions. They are historical symbols tied to Diana's public identity, her royal status, and the institution she represented. Some of the jewelry Diana wore, according to royal historians, were originally permanent loans from the crown's private collection or gifts granted because of her rank, not because of her private role as a mother. That distinction, sources suggest, is at the heart of Anne's argument. Her alleged logic is blunt. If you leave the role, you lose the privileges tied to it. In this framing, stepping down as a working royal doesn't just change Harry's duties. It potentially changes what he can legally claim as his own. But the dispute reportedly goes far beyond diamonds and heirlooms. According to speculation, the most sensitive items in question are far more powerful than jewelry. Private recordings and personal materials tied to Diana herself. Tapes rumored to contain her voice, her private reflections, her unfiltered emotions. To Harry, possession of such materials could validate his role as the true keeper of Diana's memory, the son who understands her pain, protects her story, and preserves her legacy. But insiders claim and sees a very different risk. She sees commercial potential. Streaming projects, documentary sound bites, brand narratives, media moments, and the possibility that deeply personal fragment of Diana's life could be repurposed into content, marketing, or storytelling designed to generate profit. Reports suggest and fears a future where Diana's jewelry appears on red carpets in Los Angeles, or where her private words become emotional hooks in a documentary trailer. In her view, that wouldn't be preserving Diana's dignity. It would be monetizing it. This is why, according to royal observers, and is rumored to be pushing to reclassify these hybrid assets, shifting them from personal inheritance into a category of institutionally protected or crown-adjacent property. It's not an emotional argument. It's a legal and definitional one. If these assets are no longer seen as purely personal, Harry's claim to them becomes conditional, not guaranteed. And as long as that classification holds, those items could remain physically and legally anchored in the UK, far from Hollywood studios, commercial deals, or branding opportunities. To Harry, this reportedly feels like an emotional betrayal, as though a part of his mother is being locked away from him. To Anne, it is framed as guardianship. She is said to believe she is protecting Diana's legacy from being reshaped, diluted, or sold in a media-driven environment that values clicks over history. And this philosophical divide, personal grief versus institutional preservation, now sits at the center of a growing power struggle. But jewelry, letters, and recordings are only the surface layer. Behind the scenes, insiders suggest and has uncovered something far more dangerous than any physical asset: a hidden legal mechanism that could redefine Harry's access to the entire inheritance. Because the next revelation isn't about sentimental objects. It's about a dormant clause buried in old money law, a clause designed to judge behavior, punish reputational risk, and potentially lock the vault for good. The clause that could shut the vault forever. Jewels could be disputed, Letters can be debated. Even heirlooms can be negotiated. But what princessin is rumored to have uncovered goes far beyond physical assets. According to legal insiders familiar with aristocratic estates, Anne's team may have identified a long-forgotten provision buried deep within the Spencer Trust, a clause so rarely used that most heirs never even realize it exists. It's often referred to as a moral clause, more formally, a disrepute provision, and if the reports are accurate, it could fundamentally alter Prince Harry's access to his inheritance. Old money trusts were never designed purely to make heirs wealthy. Their true purpose has always been preservation of reputation, legacy, and the long-term standing of a family name. In these systems, wealth is not an unconditional gift. It is a privilege tied to behavior, discretion, and loyalty to the family's public image. The moral clause exists as a safeguard, a legal mechanism that allows trustees to withhold or restrict inheritance if a beneficiary is believed to have brought scandal, dishonor, or reputational harm upon the family. For generations, this clause reportedly remained theoretical, a relic of aristocratic paranoia that no Spencer had ever triggered in a meaningful way. Until now, sources suggest Princess and is allegedly arguing that the last several years represent an unprecedented breach of that standard. In her view, Harry's media deals, public interviews, memoir disclosures, and commercial storytelling have shifted him from a private heir into a reputational liability. And she is not framing this as a family grievance. She is framing it as a contractual violation. Behind closed doors, insiders claim and is assembling a comprehensive dossier, cataloging what she believes are repeated acts of damage to the royal and Spencer legacy. Every critical interview, every paid revelation, every personal family detail, disclose and spare. Every project that reportedly monetized royal conflict. In Anne's rumored legal logic, this isn't self-expression. It's hostile commercial activity. The argument is stark. If Harry profits from exposing family secrets, then distributing inheritance funds to him effectively becomes funding an attack on the very institution that generated that wealth. In this framing, Harry is no longer a passive beneficiary waiting for a share. He becomes, in legal terms, a risk factor, and that distinction carries enormous consequences. If trustees determine that his actions have caused reputational harm, they may have the authority to delay, limit, or even freeze future distributions. This would transform Harry's inheritance from a guaranteed right into a conditional privilege, one subject to ongoing evaluation. For Harry, this represents a chilling shift. It means his past actions could be used against him, and his future choices could be monitored. Every new interview, every book deal, every public revelation, each one could become legal ammunition. Insiders suggest Harry's legal team in California is acutely aware of how dangerous this could become. Challenging a British aristocratic trust is notoriously difficult, especially when trustees argue they are protecting legacy rather than punishing speech. While Harry's lawyers may attempt to frame this as a free expression issue, claiming he is being penalized for telling his truth, British trust law operates on a different foundation. In that system, moral and reputational clauses are not symbolic. They are enforceable. If Princessin succeeds in convincing trustees that Harry's actions violate the trust's ethical standards, the implications could extend far beyond a single payout. It could establish a long-term precedent where his access to inheritance remains permanently restricted, reviewed, conditional, and never fully secure. And that creates a psychological trap. If Harry loses financial stability from the trust, he becomes more dependent on commercial storytelling to sustain his lifestyle. But the more he monetizes personal and royal narratives, the more evidence and side could claim as justification to tighten the restrictions further. A cycle with no easy escape. From Anne's perspective, this is described as accountability. From Harry's perspective, it may feel like control, and the tension between those two interpretations continues to escalate. But as powerful as this legal weapon may be, insiders suggest Anne's strategy doesn't stop at Harry's past behavior. Her greatest concern, reportedly, lies ahead in what could happen if Diana's legacy becomes entangled in American law. Because the next layer of this conflict isn't about Britain, tradition, or royal protocol. It's about California, divorce risk, and a scenario the royal family allegedly considers their worst nightmare. The California threat the royals fear most. If this battle were only about Harry's past, it might still be contained. But insiders claim Princess and real fear lies in the future, and more specifically in California. Behind palace walls, there's reportedly growing anxiety about what could happen if Spencer inheritance money, Diana's jewelry, or sensitive family assets fully cross into the American legal system. Because once that happens, control may no longer rest with Britain, tradition, or aristocratic trusts. It may rest with California courts. Unlike the UK's rigid trust culture, California follows community property law. That means assets acquired or commingled during a marriage can potentially become shared property, especially if they're deposited into joint accounts, used to maintain shared homes, or integrated into family finances. And that legal reality changes everything. According to speculation among royal observers, and fears that once Harry receives Spencer funds or gains full possession of Diana's heirlooms, those assets could gradually lose their legal separation. If inheritance money helps cover mortgages, security costs, renovations, or daily living expenses, it may eventually be seen not as private legacy, but as marital property, and that opens a door to a nightmare scenario the royal family reportedly finds unacceptable. Royal watchers have long whispered about potential strain in Harry and Meghan's marriage, rumors the couple has consistently denied, and is said to be planning not for gossip, but for risk containment. The fear of future legal battle in which Diana's jewels, Spencer wealth, or historically significant artifacts become bargaining chips in an American divorce settlement. Imagine Diana's emerald being assessed by Los Angeles attorneys. Imagine priceless heirlooms assigned market value in a U.S. courtroom. Imagine pieces of Diana's personal legacy being liquidated to cover legal fees, settlements, or spousal support. To and in senior royal figures, this isn't just uncomfortable, it's catastrophic. From their perspective, it would mean fragments of Spencer and royal history could permanently leave British stewardship, not through tradition, but through legal technicalities and financial pressure. And according to insiders, is determined not to let that happen. This is reportedly why her legal team is pushing for what's known as protective trust variation, a structure designed to prevent Harry from fully controlling or liquidating the core assets. Under this rumored arrangement, Harry could receive limited income or interest from the trust, but the principal capital remains locked. Physical jewelry and heirlooms stay in UK-based custody. He would be legally restricted from selling, transferring, or commingling the assets. In essence, he could benefit from the legacy, but never fully own it. Some legal commentators describe this approach as a financial straitjacket, a compromise that says, you may draw from the legacy, but you cannot reshape it, sell it, or risk losing it. To end, this reportedly isn't cruelty, it's preservation. She is said to believe that releasing full control to Harry risks losing Diana's memory not only to media deals, but to a foreign legal system that does not share Britain's emotional, historical, or cultural investment in that legacy. From her viewpoint, being overly cautious is far better than being too late. But to Harry, this rumored plan reportedly feels like a profound insult. Instead of being trusted as his mother's rightful heir, he is being treated, in his eyes, like a financial liability, someone deemed incapable of protecting Diana's memory, someone whose judgment cannot be trusted. That resentment is believed to be deepening. Because from Harry's perspective, William controls vast estates, duchies, and crown-linked wealth, while Harry is being told he cannot even freely control what came from his own mother. To him, it feels like a double standard, like punishment, like exclusion, and that emotional imbalance is fueling an increasingly personal sense of injustice. But Anne's strategy does not exist in isolation. To enforce any trust freeze, reclassification, or protective structure, she needs the cooperation of one crucial figure, a man caught between loyalty to the crown, love for his nephew, and a promise made to his late sister. The next section reveals the impossible position of Earl Spencer, the man who holds the final key to the vault, and a decision that could permanently fracture this family. The final gatekeeper in Harry's desperate countermove. In every royal power struggle, there comes a moment when influence narrows down to a single decision. In this case, that decision may rest with one man. Charles Spencer, Earl Spencer, Princess Diana's brother, the guardian of Althorp, and the trustee standing between Prince Harry and his mother's legacy. For decades, Earl Spencer has carried the emotional weight of a promise made in grief. At Diana's funeral, he vowed publicly to protect her sons from being overwhelmed by royal pressure and institutional control. He positioned himself as a shield, someone who would keep William and Harry connected to their mother's humanity, not just a mythology. But now, that promise has placed him in an impossible position. According to insiders, Princess has allegedly applied quiet but firm pressure on Althorpe, not with emotional pleas, not with public threats, but with a calculated message rooted in strategy and institutional loyalty. The argument, as sources describe it, is chilling in its simplicity. If Spencer money or Diana-linked assets are released to Harry now, they can help fund media projects, legal battles, or narratives that damage the monarchy, the same institution William is destined to lead. In palace logic, that could mean financing the opposition. Princess and is reportedly urging Earl Spencer to use his discretionary trustee powers, legal authority that allows him to delay or restrict distributions if a beneficiary is deemed financially unstable, reputationally risky, or vulnerable to external influence. In short, Spencer may have the legal ability to say, "Not now. This isn't safe for you or for the legacy." But making that choice comes at a personal cost. If Earl Spencer sides with Anne and freezes a vault, he risks becoming the villain in Harry's story. From Harry's perspective, it would feel like a betrayal not just by the crown, but by his mother's own blood. It could confirm his deepest fear that the institution is so powerful it can even turn Diana's brother against him. To Harry, the Spencers are more than relatives. They represent the side of his family that understands Diana's pain, her battles with the press, and the emotional toll of royal life. If that side closes a door on him, it could feel like losing the last safe connection to his mother. But if Earl Spencer side with Harry instead, he risks alienating the future king and being seen as enabling a campaign that repeatedly challenges royal legitimacy. Either path fractures something, either decision burns a bridge, and Harry, reportedly sensing the walls closing in, is not standing still. Insiders suggest he is preparing a desperate countermove, facing the possibility of a frozen inheritance. Harry is rumored to be consulting American legal teams to explore whether the Spencer Trust can be challenged across borders. One potential argument, according to speculation, is that restricting funds based on reputation or speech could be framed as an infringement on personal freedom, punishing him for telling his story. But legal experts caution that this strategy faces brutal odds. British trust law prioritizes legacy protection over personal sentiment. Emotional appeals rarely override the authority of trustees, especially when reputational risk is involved. And fighting a UK trust battle from thousands of miles away against the influence of Princess and an entrenched legal frameworks could become a logistical and financial nightmare. Meanwhile, pressure is reportedly building in California. Without the steady reassurance of old money security, Harry and Meghan's financial reality becomes more fragile. High living costs, private security, legal fees, property expenses, and brand maintenance demand constant income. Without inheritance cushioning the pressure, they may feel forced to commercialize even more. More interviews, more projects, more revelations. Ironically, the very effort to stop monetization could push them deeper into it. Sources claim Harry has begun reaching out across family channels, contacting aunts, intermediaries, and anyone who might help keep the vault open. Not just for money, but for emotional validation. Because if the Spencer door closes, it doesn't just signal financial loss, it signals isolation. As uncertainty hangs over Althorpe, one truth becomes unavoidable. This is no longer just a family dispute, but a battle over power, memory, loyalty, and control of Diana's legacy. Harry sees himself fighting for his birthright, and sees herself protecting history. Earl Spencer stands trapped between blood and crown, and whichever choice is made, someone will walk away feeling betrayed. Because in wars over legacy, there are no clean victories, only consequences that last for generations. At its core, this isn't just a royal feud. It's a story about power, memory, and consequence. Prince Harry has spent years trying to escape the control of the institution that shaped him. He has framed his journey as a fight for freedom, truth, and independence. But this unfolding battle suggests a harsh reality. You can't walk away from a system and still expect to benefit from the legacy it built. From one angle, princess and appears ruthless, cold, unforgiving, willing to play the villain in Harry's story. But from another angle, she may see herself as a final guardian of Diana's dignity, protecting her name, her jewels, her voice, and her memory from being turned into commercial property or legal bargaining chips. To Anne, this may not be cruelty. It may be containment. To Harry, it may feel like control. This conflict raises an uncomfortable question. Is inheritance an unquestionable right or a privilege tied to responsibility, restraint, and loyalty? Because this isn't just about money. It's about who controls Diana's legacy, who decides how her memory is preserved, and whether family history should be protected or personally owned. No matter which side you take, one truth remains clear. This battle will reshape royal dynamics for years to come, and the fallout may only be beginning. Now the final verdict belongs to you. Is Princess in right to lock the vault and protect Diana's legacy from risk and commercialization? Or is Prince Harry being unfairly denied what rightfully belongs to him? Type Team, and if you believe the inheritance should stay frozen to protect history. Type Team Harry if you believe it should be released, no matter what. If you believe duty should come before entitlement, hit the like button. And if you want more deep dives into royal power plays, hidden conflicts, and untold legacy battles, subscribe and turn on notifications. The vault may be closing, but the drama surrounding Diana's legacy is far from over.